Hello everybody and welcome to Civ House. I'm Rob. Today we're going to be going over the update 1.2.2 patch. It's going to be a big one. It's already mostly known, but there may be some small things that we will go through. I'm going to try to read as much as possible of it. There may be some things that we skip around with, but then I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, and you'll have to let me know what you think in the comments section below. Before we dive in, I'm going to ask you guys like and subscribe as always, because liking helps us understand what content you do like and what you don't. And then the subscription to become a member of the Game House family, the Civ House family more specifically. And memberships are available. Shout out to Jacobiened, our lone current member at the House family tier. But let's hop into this here. So yeah, this is going to be a huge one. There's no doubt about it. A note for Switch and Switch 2 players. This will be coming at a date later than today, June 23rd. We appreciate your patience as we work diligently to get these updates through additional Switch submission requirements. In the meantime, the current console compatible versions remains available with full cross-play support with Steam. So there you go. This is not really a huge surprise. I do apologize for Switch and Switch 2 players. The Switch 2 just rolled out a couple weeks ago, so this is not a huge surprise with that one. And I think more and more often, I do apologize, but I think the original Switch is going to be kind of left in the dust over time, but maybe I'm wrong. We'll have to see. We've been heads down at Firaxis putting together a hefty update for you in June, packed with a long-awaited features like large and huge maps. Okay, they'll go through all those features. A very petable scout dog. That is good. Yeah, we have been waiting a long time for this one, and this is a big one. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, there's the update check-in, which we had talked about, and this is my first time reading through this, so I do apologize. This might be a little long. I'm not going to read all of it, but yeah. We're also trying something new with this update. You'll notice a star icon next to select notes. Our way of showing you that a feature or change was influenced by the community. Okay, there we go. If you don't see this community icon next to something you've mentioned, know that it's not a reflection on your feedback. It's just a way to highlight some of the broader conversations we are listening in on. Thanks for being a part of the journey. And there's more to come. Okay, good news, good news. A quick few notes. While we aim to maintain backward compatibility for existing saves as much as possible, some new abilities or effects may not appear until you start a new game. That makes total sense. I'd be shocked if that wasn't the case. If you encounter any new bugs or issues, try disabling any mods. We'll talk about that as well. When you're playing on Steam and want to finish your current save under a previous version, you can do so using our Legacy Steam beta branch. Sorry, didn't want you guys to have to hear me coughing there, but fine. You know, I apologize for those of you who that may matter a lot more to. You're in the middle of this amazing game that you don't want to lose. Just play through that, and let's get on to the new stuff. There's a lot of good things. Large and huge maps. We've gone over this plenty. I think that this is super important, to be honest. But, 10 players, default, multiplayer still maxes out at 8 total players. I think that's safer for the game and the game state, and I think that's fine. Though 12 players, 12 total players is still our goal for huge maps. We need a bit more time to make sure increased player counts won't compromise game stability or performance. Look, like, even with AI in previous versions, you can have like 24 freaking civs. There are mods out there that allow you to play as every civ. And even on like a really high level computer, it will chug at times. So I'm happy with this. This is fine. And this is also going to allow for more modders to do, I think, bigger things with the game. So I'm happy with that. They've added new pantheons, religious beliefs, and city-state bonuses. Enough for content for all the players in the game. More on those below. We will check in on those here in a second. And then these are just larger demands. They are supported on PC, Mac, Linux, PS5, Xbox Series, and Nintendo Switch. Wow. Okay, Nintendo Switch 2 is actually going to be able to handle these. That is impressive. I even have one, and I don't play this on my Switch, but that is surprising. Balance starts on large and huge maps. Might encounter map generation oddities. We are actively working on improvements on these map sizes. We recommend you stick to standard starts instead of balance for the time being. Okay, that's Yeah, that's fine. I might try both and let you guys know. I'll come back and let you know what's happening there. Okay, and the new advanced game options. So this screen, I know Connor went over this. There's a lot more things that have been added to this, which is, I think, amazing. One of the biggest things about Civ is how many ways there are to play. Some players are happy to peacefully build the biggest, best cities, while others want to ignore all that and go conquer the world. Yes, your amazing city does look great in my empire. All right, that's pretty good. With this update, they've added new advanced game options to give you more control. So you can enable or disable specific legacy paths per age, or turn them off entirely. Yeah, this is great. We did an entire video about this about a week and a half ago when we first learned about it. I would recommend you go give that a look if you want to see kind of our thoughts on almost all of these really major portions, like more in-depth thoughts on them. But this is great that it's allowing you to do specific ones. I don't know if we knew that necessarily before yesterday, but the fact that you can turn off, specific ones is a very nice addition. Disable score victories. We did know that as well. Unlimited turns in the final age. That's good. I think that's great. I think for people who want to just keep playing their game indefinitely, I think that's fantastic. Enable or disable specific crises. I know that's going to be really huge for a lot of people to be able to control, like maybe you want to play a game where it's like, I want to, work my way through the Black Plague, essentially. Turn that crisis on and, just be like, yeah, I'm going to prepare for that. Let's see what we can do with that. I really personally like that. I think that's great. Custom AI difficulty, that is huge. We finally got to look at that in the last update video. To be able to change all of these different things within the game. I mean, you can even see it here, right? Like, I wish I could pause this. Oh, I thought I did for a second, but it'll roll back around here in just a second. Now, yeah, so you can see, like, you can, pretty much choose the difficulty level for almost everything in the game, which is, I believe, the most customizable version of Civ that we've ever gotten for the AI. So that's huge. Bypass Civ unlocks on age transitions. You can pick any Civ. Absolutely massive for the game as well. I know there were a lot of people who've been really upset about that for age transitions. And I think that's a big step towards those of you who, understandably, I will say, are unwilling or, maybe don't want to necessarily have to make all of those changes. I understand how frustrating it can be. I don't know. I would just say that, like, you... How do I put this? It's a part of the game. Like, they're not going to probably change the game to the point where civs will be able to last throughout all the ages. I think that, that will come with mod support, which we're going to get down to here in a second. So if that's something that you really want, you may just have to, continue to play Civ 6 or hope that mods come in that allow for that to happen. But you got to remember, all these civs are built specifically for, the ages. And, some of their bonuses and stuff don't necessarily work in other ages. So I would keep that in mind. That doesn't mean it won't change maybe in the future, but I would say that's very unlikely to change from the Civ 7, developers themselves. And then adjust independent power hostility, all hostile and random or friendly. So that's great. I don't know that I'm going to need that. I kind of like the way that things are right now. I like that they get a little bit hostile, but again, if you're running a peaceful playthrough, that makes sense. We've had a lot of fun playing with different legacy paths on or off in each age, while legacy paths don't lead to a victory are always optional. That don't lead to a victory are always optional. Sometimes it's nice to just tune them out entirely and focus on playing into the unique strengths of the leaders and the civs. For a fun sandbox game we've been playing in the office, try turning off legacy paths for antiquity and exploration, setting the game to abbreviated ages. If you want to lean into the sandbox feel even more, turn off legacy paths in modern and the score victory too. I think that that's going to be the way that I will personally play, is that I will have the victory paths on in the modern age and kind of work my way up to them. I personally am fine with not having a victory condition of sorts in antiquity and in exploration. That'll help me a lot. New bonuses for religion, city-states, and towns. We continue on. I mean, this is a huge update, by the way, guys. So bear with me. I'm going to try my best to get through, like I said, as much of this as possible. I'm giving my thoughts now instead of later. So If you can't tell, that's what's happening, okay? And I hope that's okay with you guys. New bonuses. Pantheons are first come, first serve, so to make sure there's enough to go around, we added 2 new ones. We've heard feedback from players that religion in Civ 7 has room to grow. Yes, very much so. I wonder if they watched my video that I specifically was like, religion might be the worst part of the entire game, honestly. They need to make changes with it. One consistent piece of feedback we've seen is that there's not enough room to convert your own settlements, so we're adding new beliefs and updating some existing ones that give bonuses for spreading your religion within your own empire. We've got, apologies for that, we've got bigger and bolder changes on the horizon for Religion 2, so we'll keep you updated on how it evolves. I think Connor said in his video something about, like, he doesn't personally believe that they should be announcing that. I'm okay with them announcing this. Like, this is at least something that'll kind of hold us over with religion, but I really do think that they are going to scrap it and kind of almost start over. They're just putting in things that, like, are already going to be there. Like, the belief systems I think are fine, but I really hope that they make bigger and bolder changes because religion is pretty awful. We're also introducing town updates for town focuses. So these are the urban city ones. The resort town is getting added. Fort towns can get more walls. What's the other one here? I think that's it, really. And then, yeah, urban centers can get libraries and stuff like that, which I think is fantastic. Like, that is really big, in my opinion. Lastly, we felt massed hub towns were overshadowing some of the other options, and we gave them a slight nerf from +2 influence per connected settlement to +1. We're going to keep our eye on them to see how they compare against the other newly buffed towns. So I think that this is just something that probably needed to happen. I guess a lot of people were doing this in their games. I personally had not found it or started working on that, but I know that you can. So, yeah, I guess that is what it is. But let's get into the Steam Workshop stuff. Yay! We will have stuff coming out on mods here very, very shortly. Connor and I are not modders, but we will go into this. And you guys will see a lot more videos, I think, coming out from us in general because there's going to be more content to talk about. You know, it's been a little rough with, like, these huge content, droughts. And so, being able to actually work through and talk through mods, I think is going to be really fun. So I hope you guys will check those out. They're going to be good. We've added a lot of options to customize your experience with this update, but nothing beats the level of personalization you could achieve with the help of our amazing modding community. From UI tweaks to ambitious gameplay overhauls, mods provide a way to really make your gameplay experience unique. So with this update, we're also rolling out Steam Workshop support and an initial version of the modding SDK. Now, there's still going to be more stuff that they're going to have to add so that people can actually mod, but I am shocked, very much so, that they are putting this early in the game cycle. I don't feel like mods came to Civ 6 until much later than this. I mean, this is 4-ish months of the game, right? A little over. Big surprise on my part here, but I'm glad they're doing it because, again, I love playing Civ with mods. I almost always have played Civ with mods since I really started playing online with Civ 5. I played 3 and 4. I just didn't have it really connected in a way that I didn't even know what mods really were. I was so young back then, but ever since I've known what mods are, I've always played with them, and I love it. You'll now be able to find and install mods from the Steam Workshop. Just hit the subscribe button and your mods will be installed the next time you start the game. For modders, this of course means your mods will be easier for players to find and download. You'll be able to keep the mod up to date for your users. Please note that Civilization 7 mods you'll find in the workshop are created by and for the Civ community and are not officially supported by Firaxis, so use them at your own risk. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a lot better, though. Like, you're not going to get ones that are going to break your game or anything, and you're not going to be downloading something from the internet. So, like, from the wide internet. Not you obviously download it from the internet for Steam, but you know what I mean. We'll also be providing a modding SDK to help our modding community create, debug, and upload mods to the Steam Workshop. While this initial version of the SDK won't feature art tools, it will include a mod uploader and the glorious return of Fire Tuner. Additionally, we've added some guides and documentation within the tools if you'd like to learn how to make your own mods. Have no idea what any of that means, but I'm glad. Last thing is we've uploaded 3 example mods to the Steam Workshop to show off some of the things you can do with mods, but also as a reference for both new and more experienced modders on the various ways you can make changes to the game. There are a few new tricks that weren't available in Civ 6. That's good. Quick reminder for modders, we're creating and sharing mods. When you're creating, please make sure your content follows our user rules, which you can find in section 6. For example, don't use content based on someone's IP. Well, sorry, but they are going to do that. Just gonna be honest with you. I mean, there will be a Star Wars mod. There will be a Lord of the Rings mod here at some point. So, yeah. Keeps content safe and respectful, meaning no harmful, offensive, or inappropriate material. That also has I already checked. There are potentially inappropriate images that will be put on there. Just check that at your own risk. And of course, no malicious code or anything. That one I know that they generally don't do. So that's good. Yeah, I mean, look, modding is going to be amazing. I don't know what else to say about that right now. I will be looking at mods. There were only like 20 when I checked earlier this morning. I'm going to go through them and probably come out with my 5 mods that I would be taking a look at here on day 1 or day 2. And then we'll continue to look at some of the best mods that we can find overall. So keeping a lookout for that. But I love the new loading screen, by the way. Did someone say more Gwendolyn Christie VO? Yes, everybody has. It was really disappointing that we didn't get more. So that's good. It looks like they've completely done like a new UI, which I think the artwork so far for the leaders looks amazing. I think that this is an incredible choice by them to do this. We rethought how we developed the UI, and the loading screen gave us a great chance to try new workflows without disrupting gameplay. Highlights include leader portrait front and center, new info panel, which I think is going to be super nice, a tips and hints section, and fully written and re-recorded intros by Gwendolyn Christie. That is amazing. I am so excited that we are getting more of her. They needed more of her in the game. Like, she was such a home run hit for me when they decided that she was going to be the one who was going to do this, and I'm glad they're going to have these tips and hints. I think that it's a really good part, especially for newer players, to get them in here. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm going to take a drink of water because this is about to be long. Okay, so update notes. Here's all the big ones. I hope you guys are buckled in and ready. We're already 17 minutes into this video, and I have not even gotten through all of these changes. I guess real quickly, I'll just talk about these ones, like Civilopedia getting added. That's great. There's a good new entries. Controller specific changes probably needed to happen. I think that that's really good for controller players. Helping out with the Xbox. It looks like right stick now has scroll functionality. How that didn't have that at the beginning is absolutely crazy, but I'm glad that they have that now. General, I'm just doing these really quickly. Added clarity and quality of life improvements to several UI menus and interactions. Celebration info is now, you know what? Actually, maybe I will come back to that one. Yeah, I'll come back to that one. Okay, text changes, not a big deal. Tooltips, production cost, descriptions for buildings and wonders now appear in the tooltips in the city panel. That's amazing. That definitely needed to happen. All right, back up here to this stuff. I will go down to some of that other stuff. I just didn't expect it to actually be that good for the UI stuff. So we'll go into that in a minute. New advanced game options, community influenced items. Yep, we know. Added an option to pick and choose which legacy paths are enabled per age. We already knew that. Let me see here. Added an option to disable. Okay, so these are just with their notes, right? Yeah, settling within 5 tiles of an independent power will still cause them to become hostile. That is a big one. Do not forget that, because even if you're trying to keep them from, attacking you all the time, that's still going to happen. All right, here we go. Land-based treasure convoys. Treasure fleets are growing legs. These will now be called treasure convoys, and you'll be able to use them over land and not just sea. Any distant land settlements with improved treasure resources now generate treasure convoys and no longer require coastal access, a fishing key, or the shipbuilding tech. That is huge. Super massive. There were too many obstacles to get them. I still don't love treasure convoys now, we'll call them that. But I don't know. Let's see what the dev note is on this. The treasure fleet legacy path, specifically the gameplay around gathering resources not immediately available to your empire, is a fun collection minigame for players that like to play the map. While we've improved resource placement further, The steps required to progress this legacy path were still quite restrictive, yep, and often forced linear play patterns, yep, instead of asking for interesting decisions when settling. We've made some adjustments that should make it easier to pursue this legacy path while still requiring you to explore and settle distant lands. We plan on continuing to observe this legacy path as well as others to find places to inject strategic variety. Look, I just think that, like, the distant lands thing is a good concept, but this was probably the main reason why I didn't love legacy paths. It was this one specifically. It just felt so jarring to have to go over there, to have to fight for land, to have to fight for these things. Like, I get that that's kind of what happened in, real life, but, like, I didn't want to have to do that. I wanted to do it if I wanted to do that, but this at least makes it a little bit better, because it was like you had it printed out. You gotta go get these settlements, you gotta go do this, and then that's how you're gonna get your points. And so I still have a big overall problem with, legacy paths. I like the ideas behind them still, but, like, this was, I think, one of the most egregious ones. The Exploration Age in general, I still think, has pretty bad ones between the three. Probably the worst ones between the three, but this is at least making it tolerable to play through that one. Shipbuilding is only required to make treasure convoys. Okay, update tutorial and advisor quests to remove instances of fishing key being required. Okay, good. I'm glad they got that taken care of. AI civs now repair damaged buildings and improvements over time in gameplay. Wow. Thought that was in there already. I guess I just hadn't noticed, but yeah, that's important. AI will now have better judgment and make smarter deals when negotiating a peace deal. What is that? There's, like, nothing even to discuss, really. I mean, what's smarter deal? Whether or not to include, your capital instead of, like, a minor city, I guess. I don't know. There's nothing else really to do with that yet. I think, by the way, that's going to be one of the next big updates, is going to be diplomacy. I think diplomacy also needs an overhaul, but maybe that's just me. I should say that. There are parts of it that are very good, but right now, the peace negotiations and stuff like that, I think, are pretty bad. AI players will now activate a great person when they create one. Wow, can't believe that wasn't in the game already. AI now prioritizes attacking enemy treasure convoys when progressing through a game. That's good. That needed to happen too. AI are no longer as aggressive in declaring war on players who are far away from them. Dude, yeah, unless if you're getting dragged into war by, like, a treaty that you have, that has never made sense to me. So I'm glad they're doing that. AI leaders can no longer build duplicate buildings when one of their damaged buildings has a hostile unit on it. Okay. AI civs will no longer build multiple settler units and not use them when encountered during late antiquity gameplay. I did see that one. That absolutely needed to be adjusted, so I'm glad that it is. This is just the adding of the new towns and everything. Let me see if there's anything really of note here. Mining towns, they didn't talk about that one as much. So it got a buff from +1, 2, or 3 to +2, 3, or 4. Factory towns. Let's see here. Looks like, oh yeah, it looks like they also got the +5 trade range. We've talked about that. Okay, that was needed very much as well. And then the religious sites got nerfed a little bit. Okay, that's fine. Independent powers and cities. Here we go. Added 24 new city-state bonuses across all ages. New antiquity city-state bonuses. Scientific. Lingua franca. +2 science on displayed codices. That's good. Archimedes screw. +1 science on warehouse buildings. This bonus can be chosen by multiple civilizations. That does feel like one that a lot of people are going to want. That's a great stacking bonus. Military. Hegemony. +1 settlement unit. Yes. That's huge, actually, because realistically, is it hegemon? Yeah, hegemon. Excuse me. That one will be one for players like myself. That'll be a very nice city-state to have under you. Spoils of war, or not city. Gosh. City-state bonus. Okay. Spoils of war. +1 war support. This bonus can be chosen by multiple civilizations as well. That's good. Economic stockpiles. +2 resource capacity in the capital. Dude, these are really good, like, little bonuses that are actually going to be, making... I think, like, Tecumseh and stuff like that's going to get some very nice little, I don't know, power increase here. This is like a buff, essentially, for him and a few other leaders. Ganzabara, +1 gold on warehouse buildings, also can be chosen by multiple civilizations. Culture, the paper making one is that +1 culture on warehouse buildings, +2 culture on displayed codices. Okay, so if you can get this one and the lingua franca, and you're running, science here, you could, it's like Ada. I think Ada right here, Lovelace, getting the +2 culture and science with those codices, man. Oh, you thought she was printing some yields already. That is going to be insane. The science on warehouse buildings, apprenticeship, you get +1 science and specialists. That's actually really big too. Like, especially for people who just want to, like, really, really get wide cities there. Or tall cities, excuse me. That could be really good too. Okay. Sorry, militaristic, +1 settlement limit on staked claims. The Casus Belli, +1 war support, also can be picked from multiple settlements. The bullion, +1 gold on treasure resources. Oh yeah, this is exploration. Okay, that's why. +1 culture on specialists with the seamen. I don't know. Artisans. So these basically each one of these has a warehouse building one. I'll go through these other ones. Scientific refineries in the modern age, +1 on slotted factory resources. That is super strong. I love the crossovers of these. This is the kind of yields that I like. It's not necessarily that you have, like, the most food or the most science. I like that, like, with factory resources and stuff mostly being focused on, the economic stuff. Sometimes your science, struggles. So if you go out and you get the city-state bonus, you're going to be able to get that science to help out, with everything going on in the modern age as an economic power. I love that. Dependent territories, +1 settlement. Factory system, +1 resource capacity in settlements with a factory, also huge. And then touring exhibits, +3 culture on displayed artifacts. Those are all excellent. It makes city-states a lot better in my mind. Okay, so these are the specialist adjustments that they made. So free speech. Let me see here. +50 food and happiness got nerfed. Constitution got nerfed. Let me see here. Attribute node got nerfed. Jeez. Okay. Fascism ideology, the assembly line definitely got nerfed. Dirigisme. Sorry, I don't remember that one, but yeah, that was pretty strong. But that got nerfed as well. Communism, the proletariat, also got nerfed. So, okay, so a lot of stuff here basically in the modern age getting nerfed in a pretty big way. Removed gold maintenance for the Portal de Mercaderies. Yeah, sorry. Steel mill and Manigramma. Okay. Removed happiness maintenance for the garden. Okay, Shiguan Caterel, I don't know. Jardin a la Francis. The Suffet's tradition now grants bonus yields to specialized towns when slotting in the policies. Okay, tiles in settlements without a beret. Okay, now get pillage damage during floods while playing as the Khmer after studying Musong. Okay, as somebody who's played with the Khmer, I mean, that's good. I mean, I thought that was kind of, I guess they nerfed. That's a kind of a big nerf, I feel like, for the Khmer. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong if they played more Khmer than I have, but that seems like a big nerf. The aerodrome and rail station can no longer be built on top of each other. That's kind of sad, actually. I liked doing that, but it did feel kind of strong. Updated ability and text for Terrace Farm, which now gives adjacent buildings gold instead of receiving gold for adjacent buildings. Okay, that's an interesting little swap there. I don't really know why that matters. Well, that definitely would matter for yields. Okay, I see it. Multiple world wonders can no longer be built on the same tile when moving the priority on the production queue. Okay, that was something I didn't even know you could do. The Opera House can now counts as a diplomacy building. That I feel like culture made more sense, but that's fine. You can now produce or purchase buildings after the Jaguar Slayer has placed a Jaguar trap on an empty urban district. That feels like that probably needed to be changed a while ago, but that's good. Salt and truffle resources now apply plus 20 or apply 20% production towards producing units when slotted in a city. That makes sense as well. Modifiers for city, park, stock exchange, tenement, and laboratory function correctly. Yay! Age transitions. All leader recommended civs are now unlocked. Yes, we knew that one. Diplomacy. Reconciliation is now usable with multiple leaders at the same time. That makes sense. I think that's fair. Continental systems. Massive relationship penalty now functions similar to a denounce sanction. So you can double denounce essentially now. Hostile military no longer receives war support combat bonuses when using the Kispoko Nyanatu to attack with Shani. Okay. I don't really know that. I've not played the Shani enough to know that, but that's good. All map types now generate enough traversable ocean tiles near the poles. That's always been something we've wanted. I'm very glad. The water lake tiles in homelands no longer appear as distant lands when using continents. Okay, I didn't know that was a problem, but that is good. Sugar resource is now correctly considered a bonus resource in modern instead of an empire resource. Okay, that's fine. Just a reported issue where cocoa would disappear from the map when transitioning to modern. That definitely happened to me. I thought that might be slightly intentional, but yay. Added a new option to pet the scout dog. That'll certainly happen at some point here. We needed that. Raising changes made in update 1.2.1 apply in the modern age. That was kind of a big update. I'm glad they did that. Sicilian Wars Mastery now grants 1 great work slot on towns with trade outpost focus when playing as Carthage. Okay. That's a nice little buff for Carthage. As a Carthage player, I kind of would like that. I don't know if I care that much about great work because I'm not necessarily like trying for that in that age, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to have that slot, so yeah, that's fine. Address a reported issue where the new host in a multiplayer room could not see the kick or remove player. Dude, there's so much more to do with that than just that, but that's a nice little addition. All right, let me see here. Is there anything else really major of note? Okay, our treasure convoys are now captured when killed by naval units, so that's going to be good, actually. That's going to allow us to... How would I put, like, that's going to allow us to really have kind of some war over those trade convoys. Like, I'm guessing pirates, maybe not really in this, but, you know, maybe in some sort of mod or something like that become a little bit more possible. I think there was like a leak that we had saw a long time ago that had something like this. So very interesting about that. Let's see here. Combat strength bonuses from slotted traditions now appear. That's good. Okay, the promotions work on respawn commanders. That needed to happen a while ago. I hadn't noticed that, but okay. Fleet commanders barrage land target action is no longer available when the only available naval units are submarines. Naval units now have the ability to conduct coastal raids when they have movement points and the shipbuilding tech or shipbuilding 2 tech is completed. The Army Command ability Scorched Earth will no longer display while in friendly territory on the borderline of enemy territory. Yeah, I definitely did that at least once, so I'm glad that that's getting changed. French Empire's unique unit Guard Imperial, so excuse me, Gisel, can no longer gain +2 combat strength if it's not within the command radius when attacking. I feel like it was supposed to do that already, so... Okay, here we go. Nepal Sherpas can construct highland power stations on owned and unowned tiles so long as the requirements are met. Yay! Nepal getting at least a little bit of a bonus. We'll take that. Naval command units. Okay, coastal raids. No longer disappear when moving. Okay, good. Religion. The 2 new pantheons. Trickster God. +25 influence towards endeavors and sanctions with an altar in your capital. This pantheon can be chosen by multiple. I mean, that's great. That's like a huge influence / diplomatic one. So I think there will be a few leaders that will probably want that one. And then God of Revelry, +1 happiness on resources and settlement with an altar. This is huge for a few different leaders and civs. specifically economic ones. Again, love the crossing of just everything. This is good. Okay, added some new reliquary beliefs here. +1 relic for the first time conversion of one of your cities. +2 relics for the first time conversion of a holy city. That's good. +2 relics for the first time conversion of a settlement with at least 3 specialists. Okay, +2 relics for the first time conversion of any settlement with a natural wonder. Okay, all of those already feel pretty good. I think that's good that you can get relics from being able to do stuff with your own city. I feel like it's going to make religion a little strong, but we'll see again how long this is all going to last, because I really do believe that religion is going to completely change. New founder beliefs, all buildings receive a +1 happiness adjacency with a temple. That's not going to really change much for me, but that's fine. +4 production in your settlements following your religion. That's good. Like that. Feed the world +6 food in your settlement following your religion. That is also extremely good. Wow, those are way stronger than the adjacency bonuses, in my opinion. Tikkun Olam, +2 influence for every foreign settlement following your religion. +1 influence for each of your settlements following your religion. That is also extremely strong. I like that they're adding these new options for religion. Again, it takes it from being like, you know, a 1 out of 10 sort of thing in the game to like maybe like a 3 or a 4 right now, at least in my opinion. +3 science, culture, happiness, influence, and gold on your temple in your holy city. If you retain this belief, the bonus transfers to your palace in modern. That's super good, I feel like. I like that. Okay, cool. And then this is why they, they explain right here why they did it for the modern age as well. That's good. Pushkaram, +1 influence for every navigable river tile in foreign settlements following your religion. I guess if you're playing, civs like Egypt, that were Egypt, I should say, I guess that's good. I don't know. That seems very specific, but not terrible. Gain 2 missionaries when you build a wonder. That seems very good. I like that one. +1 religion, relic slot, in science buildings in cities. That also seems very strong. Treasure convoys gain +1 movement and +5 combat when defending. Yeah, that could be fine. Crusade, +1 free war support against civilizations who have founded a religion. Okay, that's a cool one too. Added capability for shareable religious beliefs and city-state bonuses. Hey, community, good job on that one. When a missionary unit is selected, settlements that qualify for your reliquary belief are now highlighted. Yay! That is super nice. I really kind of would have thought that would have been something earlier, but I'm glad. Various founder beliefs now track and refresh correctly. That's good news. Whew, okay. We are almost done. Whew. Let's go. Isabella, big change for her, by the way. 7 cities of gold, unique ability updated to 100, +100 gold per age when discovering a wonder. It was +300, and her extra yields on natural wonders to a stacking 50% per improved natural wonder in her empire. I think that's a huge nerf personally. I know that like the +300 overall, and it's just you don't know how many natural wonders you're going to get. So I actually think that this is a nerf for her. I understand that it's stacking, but like you're going to really have to go out and conquer, I feel like now, as Isabella. And I don't know with some of the civs that you're generally going to play if that's going to work. But it does give her a new unique path that I think you could go down, which is the military path, I think, even more specifically. So that could be fun. I don't know. Maybe I'll do an Isabella best 3 civs here again soon. Inca, the tradition that I'm not going to say now allows players to create homeland treasure convoys worth 2 points in cities with at least 3 mountains. That's pretty strong. That really actually helps the Inca quite a bit. So it's like if you just get a good map with mountains, that's going to be really nice. And this is great because you don't have to play a certain civ or a leader to get to the Incans now. This is that's a really nice little note here for the Incans. And then we have Carthage. The City Hall now gains +1 great work after unlocking. Okay, we knew that. Oh, while playing as Catherine specifically. Okay, so Carthage getting a little bit of love here. Now, we went through this stuff. Let's go through the general here real quickly. Added clarity and quality. So celebration info is now displayed in the HUD instead of just the government screen. That's really nice. I've been looking for that so many times, and I remember where it is ultimately, but it's nicer that it's going to be a little bit more available. Added option in settings to allow the city panel to remain open after choosing something to produce. I kind of like that as well. Yeah, that's fine. The player can now scroll to view all items in the production queue. Kind of felt like that needed to have already been in there. Just because I can't pick it doesn't mean I don't want to see it. Changed instances of checkboxes to select in advanced options for UI consistency. That's good. The color of a memento's icon now aligns with the color of its effect for easier readability. Dude, that was super confusing, actually, now that I think about it. I didn't even think about it, but it was confusing. That's very nice. Okay. Project research objectives now visually mark as complete when a step is finished while in the Legacy Paths menu. Yay! More love for Legacy Paths. They need to make them better. Okay, improved menu behavior and visual feedback across multiple screens. Global yields now update immediately when adding a yield from a selected or from a select attribute. That was very frustrating at times because I'd be like, why didn't this do this? Now I know why. Okay, attribute numbers icon now appears or disappears after distributing points in the leader menu. I didn't have that problem, but again, maybe I just wasn't noticing. Cursor no longer remains as the melee ranged icon when moving from an enemy unit to an owned settlement. Dude, that happened to me all the freaking time. You know, these are things that like I wouldn't have even thought to necessarily change in the moment, but you know, had I written them all down or something like that, I probably could have. Gosh, we're so close, guys. Almost done. Okay. Acceptance support options are no longer swapped when viewing the denounced military presence, diplomatic action, improved game performance, and stability on the war support screen. Yay! When scrolling on tech and civic menus, addressed a reported issue or a small black screen. Okay, and then support yourself button. Okay, good stuff. Text changes we talked about, tooltips, the production costs. Yeah, that's good. We love that. The new narrative abilities. So there's a couple new ones, I guess, here. Ada and Simone getting some love. Some historical inaccuracies with Xerxes. I wonder how that happens. Like, don't they have people who are doing all this stuff? Sorry, my hair got all messed up there. Golden Age Academy and Golden Age Amphitheater pages. Okay. Let's do these ones here. Event now triggers correctly after answering papyrus problems incorrectly. All right, doesn't feel like these are really worth going over. If you feel differently, let me know. There's new audio stuff, which you already know about the pet the dog ability with a sound effect. Ooh, and then we have the new English voiceovers. They're working on other voiceovers, by the way, so those will get rolled out, I'm sure, over time as they finish them. Couple quick platform-specific things. Improved controller functionality for Linux and Mac. Improved updates slider UI for HDR calibration for PS4. Wow, I sometimes I forget that this game goes all the way back to the PS4 as well. Addressed a reported issue where some buttons lost functionality. Dude, multiplayer still has so many issues for so many things. Resolved text overlap of UI elements in multiplayer. Okay, controller is now fully functional when switching cities from the raised panel to the production panel. That's a weird bug. Xbox One, again, these are the older platforms. These will, I'm telling you now, PS4 and Xbox One will be totally forgotten about here soon. So just kind of be prepared for that if you're one of those players. Optimized audio memory usage, improved smoothness. Okay, addressed an issue with the A and the R and the right stick functionality. And the option menu and then radial menu no longer fails to be opened. Okay. Golly, that is a lot. So we got through these. And look, this is a huge patch. I mean, really and truly, this will go down, I still feel, as potential, well, at least for now, a game-saving type of patch. There are a lot of good things that I think a lot of people had issues with. I know that Connor and I had issues with, but they needed to be addressed. I'm really glad that they got all of this done. I do these updates because it sounds like a lot of you like, for me to kind of talk you through and do, my thoughts on them. If you want like abbreviated ones or something like that in the future, let me know. But I like to give my initial reactions as I'm reading them. And I feel like, again, this one was really good. I'm very happy about it. It feels like we're getting a little bit more back to the traditional sense for Civ. I really think that they skewed towards newer players. And I think that was detrimental to the main fan base, which is the ones who are going to play the game much more often beyond the initial buy date. That may have been intentional. It may not have been. I don't know. That is kind of the way it feels. I do feel like with Civ 8 in the future, many, many years from now, by the way, like probably 7 to 10 years from now, I think they will have taken what they've learned from this one and they will make the changes to that. But for right now, with what we have, I'm very happy with the fact that they are listening to us and they are making some of the changes that we need. It was not the best game to start off. I was definitely, like a lot of other Civ content creators, playing a heck of a lot less. Like, I'm not putting in hundreds of hours into this game right now. This is going to help me. Modding especially is going to help me, and I think some of the, being able to take legacy paths off and stuff like that, like, I'm going to play that tonight. Probably, if I have time. It's a busy day, but I'm going to try to play that tonight and see how I feel with the game, and I feel like it's going to be a lot better, a lot different, a lot more consistent with what I've known, and I'm okay with them trying to make changes. And you guys should be too. Like, that's how they make these games better for the future. Like, we wouldn't have districts and all these other changes if they hadn't, taken a big, swing at them in the first place. I personally am one of the people who like leader and civ separations. I think that that's a great thing. I think especially for the future of this game, there are, civs like Nepal that get added to the game because they probably wouldn't pick necessarily a leader that a lot of people would know about or care about. Now they can pick a leader and they can have a civilization like that within the game. I personally like those things. You guys can disagree. That is totally fine. But this update gets us back closer to where I think we all want to be. There's still a ton of changes that they're going to be making, over the next few months, I would say at a minimum. Now I start turning my focus to when is Right to Rule coming out. I've already paid for it. A lot of you have already paid for it. When is that going to come out? Hopefully it's going to be soon, but we will have to see. So we'll take this one as it is, and we'll start rolling with the game even more. But as always, we really do appreciate your support. We always appreciate your comments. We get to as many of them as we were able to. At a minimum, we read most of them. So we thank you very much for that one. Your guys' interaction just makes this so worth it and just so much more enjoyable. But that is going to wrap it up for us on these patch notes updates. So from our house to yours, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.